Hi, it's Nettura. Welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be an MBTI themed video about myself. Why I am an INTJ and not an INFJ, just like I thought I was for half a decade. Lame disclaimer, I pronounce things phonetically, so I will pronounce 𝓽 as 𝓽, not as 𝑛i, and ENFP as ENFP, not ENFP, because I simply read the way I write, so if you want to complain about my ambiguous pronunciation, I suggest for you to get off my dick. For some reason, I do pronounce the I types as I, N, etc. I don't know why, but anyways, here goes why I am an INTJ and not an INFJ. Firstly, the 𝓽 dominance and 𝓝 inferior were never debatable. I'm gonna list the usual 𝓽 dominant stereotype bullshit. Head in the clouds child, began philosophizing before I could even logically deduct thought conclusion. My only coherent thoughts up until I was 12 years old were shit like, I wonder if there are eyes behind my eyes viewing my current awareness more awarely. I wonder if there's an inherent purpose of my current existence. What's the societal role of my mind? The 𝓻 was clearly peeking in here, which I didn't catch, the societal objective pressure of my own role. When I was 10, it birthed in me, the yearning to show an element of dominance over groups I was in. I wanted to lead out of viewing leaders through an inefficient manner, but I was bullied and humiliated so hard that I crawled into my deep dark shell of Nephi loops. I inherently disagree with the very concept of conforming, as it is a wildly inefficient method of leading and improving the world. Why is shutting people down so rewarded? It makes me feel awful and insecure, and I'm sure that other people relate to me. 𝓝 inferior wasn't seen in me unless I was properly observed. I was a dancer, I was extremely in touch with my body, and I had excellent spatial awareness as a child. I did have an awful sense of direction until I was 15, and then ENFP broke it down to me on how to logically build a sense of direction, which I learned very quickly and I'm pretty good at now. I seem to insanely struggle with existing in a moment. Like once I'm forced to truly ground myself, I reject 𝓝 so hard that I end up slipping into 𝓛. Existing in the moment. Ha. Not observing it, not analyzing the very happening of it, simply existing? No. Impulsively thinking about how to tweak it? What if I can connect this moment to XYZ memory and bring out this part instead? What if this moment is leading me to explore this abandoned idea I had and influencing me to view it in this light instead? Yes. Genuine existing with no thought behind my existence, existing within the particular moment, makes me gravely uncomfortable. The idea behind being so in touch with my senses that they overtake my reality is so overwhelming to me. It throws me into a spiral of minor yet potent panic. I want to do other things while simply existing without a thought, like the obvious, observing, well, a more ambiguous form of thinking. I genuinely cannot control it, trust me. It gets more anxiously obnoxious once I trigger the attempt. Here I come to present the importance of pinpointing and being sure of your attachment style, as I ignorantly thought that I was a 𝓝 auxiliary due to my quick attachment to others and people-pleasing tendencies. Meanwhile, it was simply my attachment style leaning more towards anxious attachment, which in my perspective negated my own preference towards 𝓻 and 𝜑. Another reason I was convinced I was a 𝓝 auxiliary and T tertiary is due to me being immediately extremely in tune with everyone's mood, emotions, and states of mind, down to what they're logically deducting and intuitively interpreting in that exact moment. Even strangers, people that I didn't yet analyze the thought process of. Turns out it is either some oddly ethereal spiritual gift of mine, probably the female autism, let's be real, or simply the result of the manner my brain molded into, while being constantly surrounded by emotionally explosive individuals. Or just maybe, all three, concocted into a bubbling awareness soup. I had sillily assumed that the stone-cold logicality I embodied was my strong T, but after being so close to a T-dominant, INTP, I observed I was striking differences in concluding things. For instance, I do not pick at things to problem solve just for the sake of it. I do not find it fun, amusing, nor necessary, nor is it some massive strength of mine. I'm not bad at it, I simply do it when I'm pressured to. Clear T in shadow stack. And I don't particularly put much thought into widening the logic in and of itself. As in, I widen my logic by data I observe and hunches of, this perspective seems to be the most fitting to be the main factor of this issue. I clearly widen the logic upon other factors, not upon the logic itself. Whenever I try to widen the logic of said initial logic, I sort of hit a breaking point, an invisible border of, this is the end of your thought, there is nothing left to bounce off of. Contrary to the high T users, yes, INFJs and ISFJs included, where they seem to have a more intuitive, natural understanding of how far they can logically go. I simply don't know. I can't grasp my logical limit. I know I probably have it, but I don't like acknowledging it up until it is proven to me and it becomes too egoically uncomfortable to deny. But I haven't really talked about my tertiary fee in depth here, have I? The thing about that is, it's so strongly prominent in my mind and experience, yet I blank when I try to acknowledge it to the extent of explaining it. Maybe that is why it's referred to as the child function, which refers to the third function in one stack. I like to feel within it, play with morality, and fuck with observing why people feel and act in the manner that they do. I do it when I'm bored and unamused. Contrary to popular beliefs, I don't particularly believe that most people in this world are driven by evil, nor by grace and helpfulness. I'm convinced that people don't help others out of pure willingness of aid. To me, there is a clear selfishness in providing aid, and especially in wanting to provide aid. I want to help, but they don't continue their sentence with the obvious undeniable truth of, because it provides me with peace of mind that I have proven to be of help. Contrary to usual bias, I don't find this relatively shocking, and especially not evil or conniving. It's simply the biological wiring of a mammal in my eyes. More tertiary fee in 𝓝𝓮𝓽𝓽𝓾𝓻𝓪. I feel deeply through a shallow body of thick, dense water. Does my audience view me through the eyes of pure morality? Because being seen for the neutrality that I truly embody frightens me. Fuck, you can see right through me. Back into my observations on your possible conclusions about my morality I go. I observe my knee as my true gift of oneness with the abyss that holds me, supports me even. 𝓝 is the silly cunt I bring in when the efficiency of the occurring building structures is threatened in my eyes. Fee is little me asking, why are people putting me in a box? I don't see how this benefits them. Says that annoying nag with every breath I take, going, hey, look at how pretty your surroundings are. No, you absolute nutter. I said look, not think, and envision on how to innovate it. 𝓝 is the crutch to all my nags. What if I could solve this uncomfortable, psychologically intimate sensation by introducing this that will absolutely save my life and birth me to a new reality? T is just there when it needs to be. I can't give it much of an identity, as it doesn't do as much for me as I used to think it did. Ha, discarded. 𝓝 is a screaming baby, reverbing at the back of my mind every time I force myself to socialize. But low-key, I can't give it flack because I low-key mastered it. Or, I think I have. It might surprise me. To me, C is that auntie you don't even reckon the existence of until they finally got around to speaking to you and you just go, ah, yeah, of course, duh, of course. I do drink 5 liters of water a day. That is definitely the answer to every problem. Boring, unamusing, low-key irritating, I find no fun, challenge, or any sensation upon its manifestation. Looking back, every time I took a cognitive functions test, I always got these scores. Knee through the fucking universal roofs, followed by an astoundingly high 𝓝, then strong 𝓝, followed by an uncomfortably high T, a tie between Fee and 𝓝, then an ounce of C, and finally, 1 milligram of low-key non-existent 𝓝. You really can't fault me for thinking I was an INFJ. The results used to always be an exact tie for INTJ, INTP, and INFJ, but I was clearly reflective enough to be accurate about my dominant function, 𝓝. I am also one massive cynical bitch, so even though the results were always slightly INTJ leaning, I never relied on that to be my answer. For context, I have also never met an INTJ nor an INFJ in person. Neither had I met an INTP up until about a year ago, so I really didn't have much material for logical comparison. And finally, here are my current 𝓝𝓮𝓽𝓽𝓾𝓻𝓪 cognitive functions test results. The only website I mildly trust because no AI algorithm is superior to a human mind. Hope you enjoyed my 10 minutes of self-realization. Subscribe if you want, like the video if you liked it, and that's it. Goodbye!